Yeah, so today I'm going to be building what is known as Octopi live on stream. For those of you guys that don't know what Octopi is, it's basically a way to remotely control your 3D printer using this image called Octopi, and it's a really cool service. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be showing you guys how I set it up. I've never actually done it before, so hopefully it's pretty easy. But we're gonna see. We're gonna learn together. So I have my SD card here, just a micro SD card. It actually already has Raspberry Pi OS on it, but I'm going to be re-imaging it with Octopi so that I can connect it to my 3D printer. So I'm just going to plug it into my computer. Yeah, now that I have my SD card plugged in, I'm going to open up the imager. So it's just this Raspberry Pi imager. And basically what this allows me to do is to create a new image on the micro SD card for the Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to click Choose OS. And typically I choose Raspberry Pi OS 32-bit. And that's just the standard Raspberry Pi image. Instead of selecting Raspberry Pi, I think there should be one called Octopi somewhere in here. 3D printing and then Octopi. Yep, so this is what I want. And hopefully this should be pretty easy. And it should just be, I image it, turn it in, or make sure it's connected to my internet, and then should be able to go from there. It really should just be that simple. Now all I have to do is select my storage, which is going to be that micro SD card that I just plugged in. And then I'm going to make sure I enable SSH as well as connect it to my Wi-Fi. So there's this really handy little setting cog here, which allows you to change a lot of the settings for your image before you do the install. And it just makes setting up your Raspberry Pi that much easier. In this little setting cog, you can set things like the host name, and I'm actually going to change this to be Octopi. Octopi. So basically the host name is whenever you connect your device to your network, that's what it shows up as. Assuming you have like DNS enabled and all that kind of stuff. Typically with the Raspberry Pi, I always enable SSH. I almost never use like the interface on a Raspberry Pi. I always just like log into it remotely using SSH. So that's like a must for me. And then I will use the standard Pi user, and I always type it a password, give it a password. And then I already have my Wi-Fi set up. And then I am not in Great Britain. I'm not sure why it defaults to that. I guess like Raspberry Pi is a UK type thing. But yeah, I'm going to select US as my country because I'm in the US. That should be it. And now all you have to do is click write. And whenever you image like a flash drive or a SD card or whatever, it is going to erase the entire thing. So if you have anything important on your SD card before you image it, definitely back that up. Luckily, I don't have anything important, so all I have to do is click yes. And again, I have to type in my password. I'm going to do that. Just going to write the image to the SD card, and it's just going to take a few seconds. So now Octopi has been written to the image. And all I have to do is click continue. And I should now just be able to eject my SD card. So I just got my Raspberry Pi plugged in, so I'm just going to wait a few seconds for it to boot up. So now that I have my Raspberry Pi plugged in, I'm going to pray that it is connected to my internet. So I'm going to open up terminal, and I actually don't want to open up this terminal. I don't like how it looks. I use something called iTerm on my MacBook, and it's a really nice terminal that you can customize. And I also use something called Z Shell, which is just a nicer version of Bash. I'm going to first make sure that we can access the Raspberry Pi. The first thing I always do is check if I can ping it. Ping octopi.local, and I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see it. There we go. Yeah, thank you for being in the chat, man. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a nice night. Yep, so it looks like octopi.local is running, and it's got an IP address and everything like that. So we should now be able to access the web interface from what it sounds like. Octopi.local. And we should see a nice little interface for Octopi. And I'm really excited about this because for the most part, I mean, I just hate plugging in the SD card into my 3D printer, or plugging in the SD card into my computer, loading the STL file onto it, and then taking it out of my computer and then putting it into the printer. It's just such a hassle. But it looks like it's, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's booting up. Maybe a refresh. Yeah, let's try a refresh. Hey, who knew? Shout out hardcore noob, man. Thank you, Riley, for the help. All I had to do was click the refresh button. So hello, thank you for installing Octoprint. This wizard will guide you through the final steps to get your Octoprint instance all set up and ready to go. We'll get you printing in no time. Let's go. Oh, restore from a backup. Don't need to do that. I do not have a backup. But that is cool that that's an option. Awesome. Access controls. So it looks like I'm going to have a username and a password. Looks like you haven't configured access control yet, which is mandatory. Please set up a username and password for the initial administrator account who will have full access to both the printer and Octoprint settings. That's nice that they have a little local user account to be able to log into this thing. So rwardtech username, and then my password is obviously just password. That's the most secure password. And create account. And my password, I didn't actually just type password. I'm not that crazy. Yeah, let's save it. Online connectivity check. Configure the connectivity check. If the connectivity check is enabled, Octoprint will regularly check if it's connected to the internet. This is useful to prevent resource-intensive operations. Huh. This is cool. Interesting. If it is disabled, Octoprint will always assume to have a working connection to the internet. If that should not actually be the case, server startups, update checks, and the like might take longer. Nice. I guess I'll just leave it as the default. And it's cool that it has like automatic updates. That's awesome. Oh, I guess I need to click enable connectivity check. Connectivity check is enabled. Let's go. Configure anonymous usage tracking. I never do this. I never allow them to track my data. Plugin blacklist processing. I'm not sure what this is. To protect against user severe issues with certain versions of third-party plugins, Octoprint supports the use of a centralized plugin version blacklist to automatically disable such plugin versions before they can interfere with normal operations, allowing you to uninstall or update to them in your guys. What should I name my printer? What should I name my printer, chat? Let me know. I'll pick the best option. I could do Twitch chat printer. I'm gonna name it after you guys, after Twitch chat. All right, that's crazy at how easy this this is. I don't know when I started this stream. I've been streaming for 40 minutes, and I've been talking a lot. And this, I mean, in all total, this is probably taking like 20 minutes to set up. Let's read the warnings to see what they say. Even with Octoprint attached, you should never leave your printer running completely unattended. I do that all the time. I always leave my printer unattended. I let it print overnight all the time. Let's see what other bad advice they have. You also should never make your Octoprint instance available for everyone on the public internet. I'm definitely not going to do that. Well, actually, that would be a fun stream to allow people to send prints to my 3D printer. Like have Twitch chat like control my 3D printer. That could go really bad really quickly. It looks like I don't have a serial port, and that's just because I haven't actually plugged it into my printer yet. My printer is turned off. So let me go do that real quick and make sure that it will connect to my printer. And it looks like no serial port is found still. That doesn't help. Please see the FAQ. I'm not sure why it didn't show up there. I'm gonna have to see. Try that refresh button by connection. Let's see if I can restart it. Reboot system? Yeah, let's try that. I'm not sure why it's coming up. It could be the cable that I'm using. I've had a lot of issues with these cables, and the cable that I'm using could only be power only, which could cause an issue and not data. Because for whatever reason, um, cables like micro USB cables are weird, and you have to make sure you're using the right one. All right, so I plugged it into a different port, and it doesn't look like it changed. So yeah, I'm assuming it's not detecting it. Let me try using a different cable real quick, just to make sure that that's not the issue. Let's see if hopefully now it will detect it. Hey, there we go. Cable. I owe you $5, Johnny. Send me your Venmo. I'll give you $5. Let's go. There it is. So that's the serial port. I think all I have to do is click connect. Warning, firmware broken. Your printer's firmware is known to have a broken implementation of the communication protocol. Oh, that's not good. You'll need to take additional steps for Octoprint to fully work with it. Okay. So look at, let's see here. Printer is currently known to possibly ship with affected firmware. Where is it? Plugin manager, there it is. Oh, here we go, from URL. This is what I want. That's not the URL. Probably want to get it from that Git. Okay. There we go. Got it. Let's reboot. I just want to make sure that this warning goes away. And yeah, it looks like that warning went away. Oh well, actually we haven't clicked connect. Let's see what happens when So it looks like it is all set. I mean, from my standpoint, it looks like it's all set up. I can't see anything wrong with it. I think the only thing left to do is to try to print something. And that will be interesting. I have a like a test cube. Oh, here it is. I think this is the test cube. So let's see if I can actually print this. Oh man. This is so cool. This is gonna make my life so much easier that I can just upload from my computer. Never have to plug in the SD card again. This is gonna make me want, like, I haven't 3D printed in a while, but this is really making me want to get back into it. Unfortunately, the audio cut out on the stream, but you can see that it actually printed the cube, and that's the finished product. If you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys.